There's nothing really funny or quirky for me to say. I'm literally just making a video about Pete Davidson for some reason. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Zhariya Smith and I typically make commentary videos kind of like this one. So if you happen to like that, or you happen to like my face, you can subscribe to me down below. I would greatly appreciate that. Today's candle is Cotton Candy Champagne, which is a banger of a candle. I've been saying that a lot recently, but I just have some really good candles these days. And I feel like there's no way for me to really segue into this. I feel like there's no way for me to really just talk about it. So I'm going to be talking about the Pete Davidson epidemic. There's no really other way for me to title this video. There's no other way that I could phrase this, because it literally is an epidemic. Everybody is talking about Pete Davidson these days, and I'm going to be one of those people today for you. If you were to look up Pete Davidson on Urban Dictionary, you would come across a lot of definitions, some of which I will not be saying on my channel because we are family friendly in this household. You may know Pete Davidson for being Ariana Grande's ex-fiance, perhaps being Machine Gun Kelly's bestie, or for allegedly dating Kim Kardashian, which more on that later. Or perhaps you know him from being an actor, a stand-up comedian, or if you were alive in the 2000s with the Black Dad, you probably saw him on MTV's Wild 'N Out. Yes, this is literally real. You can go onto YouTube and you can find videos of Pete Davidson rapping or attempting to freestyle.
If you don't know Jack, one of his eyes is missing. Everybody, let's move to the right so he can't see who he's dissing.
To wrap this all up, the point of this is that you clicked on this video probably because you have an obsession with Pete Davidson and you want to feel some sort of community and such, or you have no idea why everyone is obsessed with Pete Davidson and you want some clarity. You want to be one of the girlies that know, and I get it. So we're gonna get into it, and let's just chat about the Pete Davidson epidemic. Now, Google Trends for Pete Davidson really do spike up in certain times depending on the vibe. Like when him and Ariana Grande were together, you saw a big peak, but then when they shortly after broke up, he also was in the news a lot when he did his comedy show and many other things. Like Pete Davidson, I wouldn't say has been like a steady incline, like exponential growth of search trends. I would say that it's very much off and on. Like either everyone wants to talk about him or nobody wants to talk about him, which is very interesting to kind of unpack. But I'm sure that the first question you probably have in the back of your head is, why do people find Pete Davidson attractive? And luckily, we have our friends over at BuzzFeed. We love BuzzFeed on this channel. I'm going to read you an article on BuzzFeed. This is a real article that was published by a human being on 17 reasons as to why Pete Davidson is attractive. And I'm going to be reading these to you, so buckle up. He seems very genuine and confident in his vulnerability. I get the feeling he is very focused and attentive with his partners. One person said, he's like your weed dealer whom you feel safe around, and for some reason when he starts cracking jokes, you realize you'd hook up with him. That's a real comment. Someone else said he has a cute smile and facial expressions. The way he holds himself is confident but not cocky like other male celebrities. He's laid back but not pathetic laid back. It's his energy more than his actual appearance. He's very open and candid about his struggles with mental health, and people who are that genuine and honest while also kind are often considered to have an attractive personality. He has a good relationship with his mom. I personally find that as a positive, but also a huge negative. I could make a whole video on that itself. Someone said he's not a supermodel or anything, but I don't find him bad looking at all. He has nice lips and a good smile. I like his tattoos. He reminds me of a funny misfit dudes I was into in high school. He's self-aware and doesn't mind self-deprecating humor. He's also a softie. Softy. He's full of skinny boy BDE. No, I will not be telling you what the meaning of that is because this is a family friendly channel. Like he knows he doesn't have to prove he's a man. We already know. And the list goes on. It seems as though a lot of people find Pete Davidson attractive because he kind of has this, who's a celebrity like this? Like Jennifer Lawrence, where it's like you feel like they're an actual normal person and they're not like a celebrity. Like I feel like if I saw Pete Davidson on the side of the road, which I'm sure I probably would find him on the side of the road, wouldn't be like, I'm a celebrity. You know, he still lives in Staten Island despite having money to live in New York City, which is where he works at SNL. He literally is a cast member of SNL, which is some comedian's dream. But he still chooses to live in Staten Island with his mom. And I think that he is a people's person, you know, and I think that that's something that is pretty interesting with good old Petey. I don't know why I'm calling him Petey. But I do think personally that Pete Davidson kind of just gives me, he is like any other skinny white male with tattoos. But that's a whole epidemic within itself, isn't it? There was this one interview, and I wish I could know who it's on, and I will definitely like put it on the screen. But there was this interview, I believe it was Emily Ratajkowski, however you pronounce her last name, I'm very sorry. She was on an interview and someone asked her opinions on why Pete Davidson is so attractive. And she was like, oh, well, he's smart and he's funny and he's vulnerable and he likes his mom and blah, blah, blah. And I just think that Pete Davidson genuinely does have this like relatability. I just think that there are many reasons for people to find him attractive genuinely, and it's really funny to me how people talk about Pete Davidson so openly as if he isn't just like a grown man and he has access to the same internet that you do and he can definitely see what you're saying about him. So I would just be like, think about that stuff, you know? Next, I kind of want to talk about why Pete Davidson, not why Pete Davidson, but you know, like, why Pete Davidson out of any other male celebrity? Like, I feel like a good contender would be like Ross Lynch or Harry Styles already has a lot going for him, so we're not going to include him. But I feel like that there are other like white male celebrities that are equal to him in terms of like vibes, but for some reason everyone is kind of like clinging on to Pete. I would say the biggest contender, the biggest thing that gets people so encapsulated with Pete Davidson would be the fact that he is dated and allegedly dated so many gorgeous women. Like Ariana Grande, which still blows me to this day that Ariana Grande legitimately was going to marry Pete Davidson. Wow. You know, I think about it, you know, but Pete Davidson is known for dating a lot of attractive women who they're like, how is he able to get all these attractive women to stay with him when he's a generally average looking person, you know? And I will say that I think that people's perceptions of Pete Davidson definitely changed. I would say around that time of 18 and 2019. He basically did an interview with Charlamagne about his mental health struggles, and it is so heartbreaking as a person who has mental health struggles. If you couldn't literally already tell, Pete is so open and vulnerable with Charlamagne about his struggles with his mental health and how he deals with ideation and all these things, you know, but he still is able to like be funny and make jokes and like all this stuff and opening up about his feelings about his dad tragically passing during 9/11. And I think that there are a lot of men in Hollywood who just will not, they don't want you to know their feelings. Like, they don't want you to know that they're vulnerable or that they have, you know, deep emotions, you know, which is fine. You can do that. But it's like, I think that when people try to understand, well, why Pete Davidson? That's like, because he is taking the steps and he's being himself. I will also say his Netflix special, Alive from New York, which is hilarious and you should definitely watch it. He also calls out Ariana Grande in this, which I believe also gave him a lot of, you know, fans, because he basically called out Ariana Grande for painting herself brown, as he puts it, and being on the face of Vogue. And I think that people like to talk a lot about Miss Ariana Grande's race, and there are many races. I feel like I've seen, like, Ariana Grande has more races than NASCAR. That was literally a horrible joke. I don't know why I said that. That just came off the top of my head too. Wasn't even in my notes, but I will say this comedy special on Charlamagne the God, aside from Ariana Grande, which I will say, like, Pete Davidson was just known in the comedy community. He wasn't really known as like dating an A-list celebrity. And I think that by putting him on the map with Ariana Grande and him actually being like a real person and like not being like, you know, forced, I think that that really helped. But also I read this article on, this is so funny, it's moms.com. This was made in 2020, and it was about how Pete Davidson was seen as attractive. And the lady writing the article states that she believes that a lot of women just have a savior complex, and they feel the need to want to save Pete Davidson. Now, Pete, he will tell you himself, is quite mentally ill and has a lot going on, but he, you know, is a survivor and he's persevering. But I think it's interesting to think that people just want to save Pete Davidson. People just want to help him, you know, because I think that there is definitely a level where a lot of women and people in general want to save their partners, or they see a person that is perceived as being quote unquote broken and they want to fix it, you know. And I think it's kind of weird to say that women just want to fix Pete Davidson, because I'm sure Pete wants to fix Pete Davidson. But that was just really interesting to me. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may be asking me or asking yourself, why does this matter? I don't care about some random white man, and I get you. I understand. But I think that it is very interesting that on the internet and to do a pop culture analysis, it's interesting how people will kind of cling on to one man. And I feel like that 2022 has really been Pete Davidson's year. Like, I feel like it would kind of be strange to like not talk about it, because Pete has honestly kind of done like an entire, I want to say people think about him entirely differently now than they did before. Him on SNL is very hilarious, and I will really only watch it for him and then the Weekend Update. Those are my only two things that I like watching, and Pete is usually on the Weekend Update, so it kind of checks out. But I will say that it is interesting, and I think we really should sit back and kind of analyze these kind of trends and people that we want to put on a pedestal and kind of understand why we're doing that, you know, because I like critical thinking sometimes. I hope you do too. I will say, 2021, we've seen Pete Davidson be in the new Suicide Squad movie, which was received so much better than the original one. We see his film King of Staten Island has done so well. So many people have been editing it and, you know, resonating with it so hard. Big Time Adolescence, which I believe came out in 2019 or 2020 maybe, has also been getting popularity. And I think that all of this combined has kind of been Pete Davidson's year of like redemption. Like, I remember when him and Ariana Grande broke up after Mac Miller's tragic death. I'm not gonna try to cry because I love Mac Miller so much, though I don't know him. Another thing, I love his music, but I feel like Pete Davidson's image was really ruined because of all the rumors that were being said about why Pete and Ariana broke up. And it's not my place to say why I feel like they did, because it's their relationship, not mine, and I wasn't there for it. But I think that Pete has kind of done a whole 180. And now I feel like almost is that this Pete Davidson epidemic, as I'm calling it, may have a halt next year, because I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you've heard, but Pete Davidson is allegedly dating Kim Kardashian. And I think that Pete Davidson's painting yourself brown comment about Ariana Grande, I feel like can be applied way more to Kim Kardashian, though Kim Kardashian kind of consistently goes towards one race. Call that biracial. I think that it's interesting that Pete would decide to, even if it is a publicity stunt, to kind of make people forget about Astrofest, which you shouldn't forget about Astrofest. Like, Travis Scott really made an event, and so many people tragically passed, and you need to think about that. And I'm going to remind you about that right now, because Travis is going horribly with that. And I think personally, allegedly, this is my thoughts, that Pete is being with Kim Kardashian and making these appearances and driving her Rolls Royce and doing all these things to like kind of distract. and to get some positive news about Kim Kardashian. But it's also like, if people think that Pete Davidson would stoop that low to rehabilitate someone else's image when he is like he was friends with Kanye West, is just kind of weird to me. And I think that that's interesting to like see how people kind of react and how people will think about this in the future, because I think it really says a lot about his character to do a publicity stunt when Pete is really getting nothing from this, because he already has publicity from all the other beautiful women that he's been around. And I don't really think that Kim is going to do any more for his career than Ariana Grande would have. I also think that with this relationship with Kim Kardashian, whether it's real or not, I think that there is kind of this trend of people dating skinny, white, tattooed men. We see Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker just got engaged. Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly are dating, and people are still so shocked that Machine Gun Kelly was somehow able to date Megan Fox, who is known as one of the most attractive women like on the planet, you know. So it's kind of just mind-boggling. And I think that Kim, in a way, is trying to go in towards this trend of kind of removing herself from, weirdly enough, blackness and going towards skinny white tattooed men. Not that that's a problem. In fact, I'd prefer her to not appropriate black culture anymore. But I don't know. This really doesn't matter. Like, in the grand scheme of things, like, I just wanted something to talk about, and I think this is an interesting thing. And let me know down below what your thoughts are on anything that I talked about today, which was a lot, and a lot of conversations that I decided to start. And I think it's just interesting. So if you want to let me know. I'm down below. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, because it does help little old channels like mine. And while we're talking about me being a little channel, make sure to also subscribe to me down below. I am like so close to hitting 5,000 subscribers, which I could hit 5,000 subscribers and I would cry. Like, genuinely, and that would mean so much to me. So if you want to subscribe to me, you can do that, and I will be greatly appreciative. I appreciate every single one of my subscribers so much. And this year, not about to cry, this year has been so important for me. And this year I got monetized on YouTube. One of my videos hit, I want to say it's 40,000 views. My channel has been doing so well this year, and I am so appreciative for every single person, whether you subscribed or you didn't. I'm just happy that you decided to click on the video of a mediocre 20-year-old talking about things that are on their mind. So I am appreciative, not to like almost cry, Lord. Okay. But yes, subscribe to me, I guess. And yeah, so for the last time this year, I want to say, and I want you to make sure to stay happy, stay healthy, and stay safe, especially on New Year's Eve. And I'll catch you guys in the next video next year. It feels kind of like a joke, because it's like, oh, honestly, guys, I haven't taken a shower since last year, and it's like New Year's Day. So stupid. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting, so I'm just going to end the video here. Bye.